So welcome everyone for another World Cup game. This is round three, and this game is Switzerland Crab played by Nuggets against Unicorn Netherlands players, which I don't, Maximus, sorry. So the Crab deck is, I would say, pretty standard. Yeah, there's two procurers, but it's rather classic Crab deck. So two different Neuronode. There is one Assassination and the Way of the Crab combo. Only two Mountain, the three Fine-Tones, two Clouds, yeah, Spyglass and Talisman as a splash, three Skirmisher and three Wayfinder as the conflict characters. That's a totally standard Crab deck. On the Unicorn side, we have a Shiro Shinjo deck. On Seeker of Water, with Endless Plane and Midnight Revels being the Seeker provinces. Pilgrimage, Meditation, and Ancestral Lands. So Ancestral will likely go under the Stronghold. Dynasty side, we have Border Rider, Challenger, 2 Dayu, Shanghai, Kudeka, Swift Wave, 2 Chagarai only, Trinagi, 2 Youth, 1 Anton Sanai, okay, it's interesting, 1 Trailblazer, 2 Kamoko, and the 3 Textuko. Then you have like 3 favorable grounds, 3 encampments, and 3 yurts. 3 favorable ground now. A bit uncommon to see. I have 1 Ascension, Banzai, 1 Cavalry Reserve. That makes sense to have only 1 in Shinjo. Oh, the splash is Dragon with 1 Karmic Balance, so that's really interesting, and 3 Let Goes. We have also 1 Fallen in Battle that Crab will have to pay attention to, and 3 charges. 1 Speak to Heads, the 3 Spoil of Wars, 2 Clouds, Curved Blade, Katana, Finger of Shade. There is 2 Ring of Binding also to keep characters in play. We have the 3 Invocation of Ashes. And conflict characters are 3 Wayfinder and 2 Ambushers. Crab players have started the game already. So Unicorn first player played the Youth, and then Crab played the Satoshi, 2 Fates, and Unicorn passed. Interesting that to have played the Border Rider. I guess he might have been a bit afraid of the Assassination. Shetame is good there though. And yeah, also the Moto Youth against Satoshi means that the Stronghold only puts you to equality, which is better than with the Border Rider, because the Stronghold against Border Rider allows Crab to win the conflict in defense. So finds Meditation with a no fate character, I guess that's perfect, that's everything you want. Oh yeah, actually I think, apologies, I've just been reading the chat, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Eric would could be the sub for this team, or I just don't know the name he's using to play, because he's registered on the spreadsheets as Maximus, so I think he's the sub player for the team. So yeah, we see Unicorn winning that conflict, Spoils of War firing, throwing away of Fine Cat, an assassination. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I guess against Crab it doesn't matter too much at that point. Crab playing Wayfinder, seeing Meditation, and going with Satoshi and the Wayfinder. Finds the Revels, that's bad, because yeah, Satoshi get both. Hopefully you still have the Wayfinder with, so you will be able to win the conflict, but it won't allow you to stand. Yeah, the water ring here is obviously for the keeper, because like there is literally nothing to go on Eric's board. So yeah, that's cute. He uses the water ring to stun Satoshi before he bows, and double keeper. That's rough. Like 2 keepers turn 1 is from the Satoshi mill is already not fun. Also, he had a Kunilab, so if you want to rebuild that, that's a lot of stats. Like next turn, he could just like vomit cheap stuff and rebuild the Kunilab. Wayfinder finds Shameful, goes into another province that turns out to be upholding. With the fire ring, okay, so that would Would be to dishonor Satoshi, I guess. Defense with the keeper, stronghold to give +1. And I guess no, you can only pass as unicorn here. Bringing back the Wayfinder home, so that makes sense, so you can defend against military attack from Crab. So as Crab here, I think you just don't attack. Yeah. This way you ensure you have the favor, because if you attack with the keeper, unicorn just defends with both win the conflict in defense and get favor is tied. So I think you need to keep Canada as Crab. It just forbids unicorn to play anything, which is really good. Really, really good. It's interesting. Is the Canada province the shameful one? That would make sense. Yeah, it is. So Canada on shameful against unicorn. Interesting. And we see a Kisada 2 Fates. That's already going to be a pain for unicorn, I guess. The 3 Fate Kudaka, interesting. That's a tiny bit risky given that Crab plays Assassination Way of the Crab. He doesn't have a cheap Crab character to sacrifice yet, but it's not impossible that he has a conflict character for that. A Skirmisher would do. And then you take a Fated Ring, like Void. You Void... Oh, yeah, okay, with the Border Rider out, it's more complicated. Oh, you can still do it after the Fate. Oh, no, you can't, because you won't have Fate to put on your Skirmisher. So I think Unicorn is safe from the Way of the Crab this turn. Spyglass on Kiseda, first one. So that's the last, probably one of the last time we see Spyglasses on Kiseda, given that the card has been restricted. Well, there might still be Crab players that prefer it to charge or rebuild, but there will have to be a choice now. Yeah, I also think so, Jungu. Hence my sentence. That's probably the last time we see it on Kiseda until it's unrestricted later, unless it's unrestricted later. So goes to the meditations that he saw first turn with the Wayfinder. It's interesting that he goes with Kisada. Well, yeah, I guess you prefer that to the Revel, obviously. That might also be a tell that he has a reprieve for the yeah, actually he's taking Void, so you don't really care about that this turn. So yeah, Kisada breaks the meditation. And he removes the Fate from the Border Rider. That makes sense. See Border Rider standing. Going air for the Fate. And also because he has only 7 on all left. So I guess that's a good choice. On to the last province. So that's manicured. Because along the River of Gold is under the stronghold, obviously. Grab defense with Satoshi and the Keeper, so now Unicorn don't win this conflict. It's a favor. And he still has a stronghold, just in case. Oh, Curved Blade. Okay, interesting. On the Border Rider, that's a bit sad. especially because with your talisman, so that's going to go back to shameful, I guess. Or yeah, it's going to go to shameful. Let going the talisman cancelled by Kisada. Okay, interesting. We see a stronghold bonus rather than moving with the talisman. That's a mistake because now the talisman is let go the second time. The mountain does not fall on Satoshi, so that one won't go at the end of the conflict. Also means that if Crab attack with it, then it's going to be slightly bad use of the mountain. Rebuilding the lab. Okay, so there comes the stats boosts. Crab is still winning in defense. That's a lot of cards played for Crab, but the thing is they are going to have effects on more than one conflict. Yeah, it sounds excessive, but it's like the lab and the mountain will have impact on more than just this conflict. Not using the talisman immediately after having played it is a huge mistake from Crab. Like, I think you immediately move the conflict to Shameful, honor Satoshi, Disown the Border Rider, and then afterwards you try to defend, as you just did. Because now Unicorn plays Banzai, and wins the conflict, uses another Spoil of War. And discards a censure. Okay, he knows he's going to have issues to get that favor. Unicorn is in a bad position on board, but he has a small fate advantage and a significant hand advantage, which might get neutered by the Spyglass though. Okay, Crab knows that this card advantage matters and takes the Earth ring there. So it's political Earth unravels. I think like you really don't want to defend that, but do you really have a choice? Like, if you don't defend and Crab has a fight on you literally lose the turn. Like it's no, Karada wasn't used already. It has not been used. Invocation of Ash. Oh no, Nate fan. Okay, so Crab's still winning. I think Crab was not too happy. I think Crab is not too happy to use Karada there because he probably might have had the fight on, and he wanted to see whether or not Unicorn would attack a second time to fight on the Kisada. Like you can use it later. He can use the Karada now if it matters, for example. Oh, we see a Cloud Mine on Kisada. Okay, interesting. I guess it's yeah. Why? Oh yeah, it's played now not to avoid it being discarded on Earth. I guess as Crab here, you moving Kisada, right? Because you want to draw with the Spyglass. Oh yeah, he's not doing it because you think Unicorn could have a conflict character, which is totally well with 10 cards it's possible. Yeah, but he had one that get discarded. Yeah, he should have been using the talisman before the stronghold. Totally agree with that. That was a huge mistake. Pretty inconsequential for now because it's Crab, obviously, but it's a mistake. I also disagree with the non-use of the favorable ground. Like, you can always move in your Kisera into the conflict and attack to get the card draw from the Spyglass, and then you can always fight on afterwards if you need. Like, he basically lost a card there. Interesting. What do you do as unicorn there? Like, you can play something big, but you have to be ready to play the challenger just in case Crab gets the envoy out. Because if it does, that's the assassination incoming. So he plays the challenger, and we see the envoy. Okay. So we might see the way of the crab, sorry, not the assassination, the way of the crab. And even then, like, assassination is still a threat, because... Oh, plays the Kamoko forfeit. Okay, interesting. That's a big one. Eric is notably excellent at fate management, so that Kamoko forfeit is going to be something. And there is the Jagged High for the charge if he needs. On the other side, Crab has Shuchi, which gives him a covert. Unicorn going for fire for the fate, and there is Shuichi or Satoshi to Dishonored are both interesting targets. I don't think you know Kamoko. You let someone break to stun. I don't know her from her effect. Yeah, it goes on back onto the meditation. Crab defense is Kisera, so it means like this conflict is. I think Unicorn there wanted to charge. So Crab putting Kiseda in means you can't anymore because you're gonna get Defend Urinal. Yeah, you can harpoon duel though. Oh, there comes the charge. Okay, no Defend Urinal. That's interesting. So it means no harpoon duel, right? Because you don't charge Chagai to harpoon someone afterwards. And there comes the assassination. I know we're gonna see the way of the crab, so I think Chagadai is the one you sacrifice to the way of the crab. Because like if you don't break that with Chagadai, then I just agree with that Banzai, because well, it's tempting for crab to let you get that break, and once you get the break, he way off. And once you way off, like, you have only bad choices, right? Because you have Kudeka, 2 Fate, and an Invocation of Hash. You have Kamoko, 4 Fate, and you have that Chagadai on which you will have invested a lot to get the break. Oh, and now comes Altan Sanai. Okay, that's huge. Yeah, there comes the way of the crab. That was obvious. But I think no, you throw away the Kudeka, right? Yeah, that way off was a sure thing. Like, it was, yeah, agreed. You should have moved the invocation onto Shagatai before the way of the crab, because you would have before the second charge, so you would have lost less value on the Kudeka dying. No, it has a really tough choice, because if crab has a rebuild and you rebuild an iron mine, then that Kisada isn't even going to die. Yeah, I think Kudeka is the way off, but like, it would have been better if you had saved the invocation of Ash onto Chagarai. Like, I think because of the dynamic of this conflict, like Chagarai not bowing, Altasanai potentially killing Kisada, you don't have the right not to sack Kudeka. Like, it's the only obvious choice, but it's still a bad choice. Yeah, I agree. If the province breaks, it's bad for Crab there, but like, I feel like this way of the crab was obviously coming, and okay, I totally disagree with the choice of sacking Altan Sanai. I feel like the way of the crab was totally coming, and like not moving the invocation was a huge mistake. Yeah, you're right. He can sacrifice something else than Kisera. Yeah, true. But I mean, yeah, he has the spyglass, okay, because he's clouded. So at the same time, that might be your choice, right? Okay, so now you're not even winning that conflict anymore as Unicorn. That's really bad. So that ended up, as I said a bit earlier, like the bonsai I was saying is bad because that really felt like Crab would just wait for Unicorn to break and then play off the way of the Crab. And then you feel super bad because you've expanded the bonsai, you've expanded the double charge, and you don't even get that break. Totally disagree with the choice of not sacking Kudeka. Especially now she gets clouded. Kamoko won't even be able to stand because she's already stand. Oh yeah, actually she can go into the conflict, but standing her doesn't matter because she will get back home boat. So yeah, that's not a good turn for the unicorn player there. Okay, he uses Censure to honor the he discards Censure to Kumako's ability to honor her, so I guess that's a good choice because anyway, like Favor is likely not going to move again. And now I guess you go Political. Where do you go? Like Garden, I would say. Crab has 3 Fate already, so doesn't matter too much. Well, if you go Void, you might not want to go back to Garden. But a Bolding is bad, and Meditation isn't much better. Yeah, and you can't go Shameful, so Garden is your only choice. Crab's board is pretty scary there. As often, I would say. Yeah, agree. Kamako should have been in the first attack. Totally agree with that. First attack should have been Kamoko charge Shagarai. And then if you charge Altan Sanai, then you stack the Kudeka. Fight on to Satoshi, so now you're not even winning the political conflict anymore. And that Kisada has been maintained. So yeah, it doesn't sound good for Unicorn here. It looks really bad. Oh no, it's been sanded with the water ring, sorry. I think you can't even win that conflict with Kudeka here, right? Wayfinder equalizes the strength. Well, if Crab wants to play Rebuild, it forces him to have one less. But yeah, there we see the card I finally used. So now Unicorn has like 4 strength to compensate for. And that's not gonna happen. Like even the Speak to Hurt does not get it. Oh, another invocation of Hatch. So now we might see Speak to Hurt. That's a lot of investment. Yeah, there it comes. A lot of investment just to win an airing. Not even getting a break. And there we see the rebuild for the Kunilab, so you're not even winning that ring anymore. Well, if you send the Wayfinder for the extra money, then you just literally won't win no money because you played the Wayfinder. So obviously you deny it to your opponent, but yeah, that's not the ring I would have taken as crab anyway. Okay, discarded Invocation of Ash stolen by crab using the let go. Um, oh yeah, yeah. For but then it's not too upholding; it's too shameful that you go. Which I don't know if I'm too happy about, honestly. Yeah, the only reason why the province under Karada isn't revealed it's because it's shameful. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess the skirmisher might die. Like, well, that Kamoko has really been useful all the turn, right? She's been standing, doing nothing during all four conflicts. So if Unicorn has, yeah, I don't know how you do this as Unicorn because you're gonna keep a small board, but like Crab is going to have a huge one. You have no break. You're free break light. Yeah, yeah. She definitely looks super threatening, but that's all she does. Yeah, I think if Eric has chosen to sacrifice Kudaka, the game would have taken a totally different way. It would have went totally different. So Crab extends Shuichi and two Iron Mines, so I think that Kiseda and Miyasatoshi are staying one more turn each. If game doesn't end this turn. So we see Dayu with 3 Fate. I think you don't have a choice if you want to save your stronghold for the military attack. Yord for 2 Fates. And that's reasonable because Crab passed, and Unicorn need to save his stronghold, so he might want Fate to play cards. Another Yord for 2 more Fates. And a Master of the Swift Ways with 2 Fate, okay. Um, the only thing about not taking any honor there with the Yord is that if there is a Watch Commander hitting the table, you might regret it a bit. So we see Wayfinder seeing the Ancestral Lands. Yeah. Not really sure why you need the Wayfinder here, but you have so much fate that you can totally afford it. Like, I mean, they have the deck list. It's obvious that it's Ancestral Lands in the Stronghold. Yeah, that was depends. Like that's there's a lot of military strength for Uni there though. It's like 5, 11, it's 14, 17 plus the bonsai. The bonsai is only +3 though, so it's not really a bonsai. So you have 20 strength for unicorn. It's not bad, but yeah, crab has yeah okay, and there comes another coverage. So yeah, no, you can't defend that anymore. Like you lose the game straight. It's 3 coverage. Okay, I don't even know what you do there. Okay, and the Wayfinder was for the coverage. Yeah. Apart from crying, well, cry. I don't know. I think Unicorn did a really bad choice there. So we have a magnificent crab attack, 20 skill. And if he has the third rebuild for the the lab, that would be absolutely gross. So defense with 8 means you have to put at least 5 strength, no, 7 strength to save your stronghold. He did cover it, didn't he? Okay, well, maybe he didn't. He was so sure to win that he didn't cover it. Yeah, I think he covered it, yeah. And there is a watch commander on Satoshi, so you're gonna see honor starting to drop. Like 21 to 12. I don't know how you save yourself. Okay, that's a way to save yourself, like charging stuff. So 21 to 18 as crab, you still have Karada, so yeah, taking the invocation. It's 23 to 16. You still have 10 cards as unicorn, so you can play stuff, but you're gonna lose honor pretty quickly. You have the +3 from Dayu. Okay, kind of disagree with that ambusher. Bonsai to the Satoshi, okay. Double, obviously. So you have, yeah, you have +3 with the Dayu, but that doesn't make a difference. Yep, pretty one-sided match once the Way of the Crab happened. Like Unicorn did feel like it had a chance until the Way of the Crab. And after that, no way you would come back. Like we just saw him losing slowly the game. Okay, thank you very much for watching and have a nice evening. Bye.